Good morning, everyone. If you could take a seat, we're going to get started. It's amazing how quiet it got. Good morning, everyone. My name is Suzanne Carpenter, and I'm the class of 1993, and I have the pleasure of being the president of the Westover Alumni Association. It is always a pleasure to gather here for reunion and to have so many Westover alums in one place, but this year actually feels particularly special. After 2 years without any in-person reunion or alumni events on campus, allow me to say, on behalf of the entire Board of Governors and the Alumni and Development Office, welcome back. We are thrilled that each of you are here today to celebrate a milestone reunion, catch up with friends, and visit this beautiful place. While this year looks a little bit different, here in a tent instead of in the LBD Performing Arts Center, we hope that each of you will still feel the Westover spirit as you walk around campus, reconnect with old friends, and meet our incredible students, faculty, and staff who make up the school today. Virtual events and Zoom calls are great, but are they great? But there's nothing like being here in person and together. In fact, one of the highlights of reunion is visiting the dorms, and I know that you're going to try to get into the dorms, and we are not doing that this year. And I'm looking at anyone from the classes in the 70s because I know that your bad girl selves come out for these things. We are not going in the dorms given COVID, so we are trying really hard to keep our students safe this year. And I know it's disappointing because you want to go back and see your rooms and walk corridor and experience what it was when you were here. But instead, our incoming proctors have recorded an adorable peek of dorm life today. So we'll watch that. Thank you to our proctors who put that together. That was adorable. We have a busy day and weekend ahead of us. There is a lot to catch up on. New programs and spaces, a whole new student body since most of us have been back on campus, and yet some very familiar sights and sounds as well. And if you are able to walk into the building, I know you have to be masked, it does still smell the same for those of us that have been here previously. During your time on campus, I am confident that each of you will find something that makes you proud to be a Westover graduate. It may be the stories and the accomplishments of the alums being awarded this morning, each incredible in their own right. Perhaps a visit to the Paulina Center for Women in Science and Engineering, home of Westover's trailblazing STEAM program. It will remind you just how capable and creative Westover students and teachers are. Standing in chapel line will surely bring back memories, and perhaps experiencing Lumina, the evolution of the chapel program, will make you proud of how Westover adapts yet maintains our beloved traditions in today's changing world. I hope you will join us at club reunions at 4 p.m. and connect with our students who participate in the very same activities that you did. Glee Club, WALSA, Dorcas, student leadership, and more, and find yourself in a bit in today's Westover students. Or maybe your moment of pride will be tomorrow when we celebrate the resilient and remarkable class of 2020, who after 2 years will finally have their commencement, their last and final Westover tradition. We hope you will stick around to be part of their graduation circle and surround them with proud alums. And if that's not incentive enough, the ceremony will be followed by Westover's Sunday brunch, which we all know is in fact the best meal on campus. Whatever it is that makes you proud this weekend, inspires you, or brings the memories flooding back, I hope you will share with your classmates who couldn't be here today. Take pictures, tell stories, send a postcard from the back table, or post on Westover Connect. As I said, there's nothing quite like being on campus, but each of us here today can do our best to spread a little bit of Westover spirit and cheer far and wide. And for those of us that are joining us from live stream, hello. We wish you were here in person with us and appreciate your joining the celebration remotely. We do have business to attend to, so without further ado, I call this annual meeting of the Westover Alumnae Association to order. I have not gotten to use this in 2 years, so if I'm liberal with it, you'll know why. Our first order of business is to vote on an amendment to the current Board of Governors bylaws. A summary of the proposed change is available on your table. The change will allow the Governance Committee, the committee responsible for the selection of new governors, to broaden its membership. Currently limited to 3, this proposal would change the language to require at least 3 members, which opens total membership up to a larger group. Like the Board of Governors, we want this committee to be representative of the makeup of our community as they select future members and leaders. Having more people at the table and part of the discussion is the first step. May I have a motion to approve the amendment? Second? Thank you, Greta. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All in favor? Thank you. The motion passes. I'm going to turn this over to Greta Atchison for a Westover Fund update.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Greta Atchison. I'm an alumna from the class of 2002, and I serve as a governor on the Westover Fund Committee. I have the pleasure of sharing a Westover Fund report with you this morning. The Westover Fund is so important each year because it directly supports every aspect of Westover, including financial aid, campus maintenance, every academic and extracurricular activity, as well as continued COVID mitigation. The Westover Fund goal this year is $2 million. To date, donors have contributed $1.5 million. Thank you to our 830 alumni donors, which includes 211 reunioning alums, many of whom are sitting here today, so thank you. Many people celebrating reunion make stretch gifts. They're gifts at a level that is most meaningful to you in celebration of your reunion, and we are so thankful for your generosity. While we are tracking ahead in alumni donors compared to last year, we're behind in our effort to reach $2 million by nearly 20%. This gap, along with the extra costs the school has incurred to manage COVID testing and mitigation, means that the Westover Fund truly needs your support. We're asking all Westover alumna to help close the gap and show your belief in Westover's mission with a first or second gift to the Westover Fund this year, and we hope that you give each and every year. If you're inspired by what you see this weekend, please consider making a contribution before June 30th. You can text Westover to 41444. Again, you can pull out your phone and you can text Westover to 41444 to receive the giving link. Find a staff member or send a check or gift of securities. I've personally used monthly giving to maximize my annual giving for years. And remember to be an ambassador to those who could not make it. Tell them about the great work that Westover continues to do and encourage them to support Westover with a gift to the Westover Fund. Every gift demonstrates our commitment to Westover, a commitment to our traditions, but also to today's students and to Westover's future. Thank you for making a difference for Westover. And now, Karen Senich with a Governance Committee update.
Good morning, I'm Karen Senich. I'm of the class of 86. On behalf of the Governance Committee, I'm delighted to share with you the alums nominated to join and lead the Board of Governors next year. Before I do, however, I want to acknowledge the governors retiring from the board this year. Linda Williams Cox Hines, the class of 1961, Suzanne Charbonneau Carpenter, the class of 93, Greta Atchison, the class of 2002, Alyssa Seifert Jarvie, the class of 2005, each of whom retire this year after 2 terms and 6 years on the board. Christina Preto, the class of 2012, and Shotzi Bissell Wilson, the class of 1978, will also retire this year after their first terms. I want to share a sincere thanks to these governors. They are loyal and committed Westover volunteers. Each brings her own experience, expertise, and enthusiasm to the board. While serving for 1 term or 2, these governors have experienced a piece of Westover history like no other during their time on the board. Being a governor in a pandemic, unable to come to campus and create connections with students, which is the best part of being a governor, was a challenge, yet I am proud of our work and our commitment to Westover and the Alumni Association. I also want to extend a hearty and heartfelt thank you to the governors who continue with their service. They are a remarkable group, some of whom are here today. Collectively, we are proud to represent the school and the Alumni Association. As we look to the future of the board, I'm delighted to share with you the 5 governors nominated to join for an initial 3-year term ending in May of 2025. The biographies are on the table for each of you. The first is Erica Indelicato Woods from the class of 1987, Habiba Karoma, the class of 1997, Laya Saludo Sweeney, the class of 1999, Dr. Jin Lee, the class of 2004, and Hannah Gottlieb, the class of 2008. May I have a motion to elect these new governors? Okay. And a second? Any opposed? Any abstentions? All in favor? Aye. Allow me to be the first to congratulate you, Erica, Habiba, Laya, Jin, and Hannah. This is a proud moment for the Alumni Association. In 2020, the governors committed to build a board that is reflective not only of Westover of the past, but also Westover today. We committed that within 2 years, the Board of Governors would better represent our entire community, with at least 50% of members who identify as Black, Brown, Indigenous, Latinx, Asian, or LGBTQ+, and including international alumni. I am proud to tell you that with these elections of these governors, we will meet that commitment for the 2022-23 academic year. This is an ongoing every year commitment, and we aspire to be and remain a board that each of you is proud to have represent you. At this time, I'm pleased to present the slate of officers nominated to lead the board for a 2-year term. Nominated to serve as president, Tatiana Fonseca de Silva, the class of 2007. Nominated as vice president, Dominique Harrison, the class of 2008. Nominated as secretary, Kristen Hartley Leintheiser, class of 1976. And nominated member at large, Jamie Mathurin, class of 2016. May I have a motion to elect this slate of officers? Any opposed? Any abstentions? All in favor? Aye. Congratulations, Tatiana, Dominique, Kristen, and Jamie. Thank you for your willingness and enthusiasm as you step into these important roles. I know I speak for the whole Board of Governors and the Alumni and Development Office when I say that Westover is incredibly lucky to have you at the helm of the Alumni Association. Suzanne?
At this time, the annual meeting is adjourned. It is my pleasure to officially turn the presidency over to Tatiana De Silva. The Board of Governors meeting, as this meeting also does, open and closes with a gavel. It was awkward to do it on Zoom. I have to admit I didn't do it all the time, but I had it with me the entire time. This was a gift from Marion Villas Reed, class of 1942. The head of the gavel is made from the original over tray, and the handle is made from the original west tray. I am turning it over to Tatiana.
Thank you, Suzanne. I will hold my thank yous and well wishes until the happy hour that we are going to have at 5 p.m., where we will toast to our outgoing leadership. In the meantime, just know that Suzanne's leadership of the Board of Governors has been transformative in every sense, and the board and the school could not be more grateful to her for her endless time, energy, and wisdom.
It is my pleasure to introduce our head of school, Julie Falstick. As you know, Julie is in her 7th and final year as head of school. These 7 years have been 7 years unlike any other in Westover's history, to say the very least. Despite this, she also oversaw renovations of the main building, the creation of the Paulina Center for Women in Science and Engineering, the creation of the Student Commons, and the beginning of dorm renovations, which includes updated bathrooms and laundry on corridor, which I know that is the thing that everyone gets very excited about. I know your inner selves are very jealous. If you haven't seen it yet, the renovation of what most of us know is the old labs, or when I was here, ceramics, has been updated to include Johnson Quad, a new college counseling center, and the Julie Falstick boardroom, named in celebration of Julie's tenure at Westover and was dedicated a few weeks ago. Julie also guided the new visioning of the school through its strategic plan and lifted up the ideals of inclusion and community through the creation of the vision for belonging and justice and the addition of a senior administrative level chief strategic inclusion officer, as well as significantly increasing diversity of the faculty to better reflect our student body. You really didn't do anything when you were here. We will have more time to celebrate Julie at the happy hour today at 5 o'clock, and I hope you will join us then to raise a glass. In the meantime, Julie, thank you for your leadership for these last 7 years, and thank you for being with us here today.
Taking the long way around here. All right, thank you. It is bittersweet to be here starting my last reunion, my last Alumni Day reunion. And I'll just start with a short story, which is my first reunion. I did something that you're all going to be, oh, I wore a red jacket and gray pants. So quickly realized my error, and I ran home and found a green scarf. So I did not make that error today, so I came out with something a little more neutral. So anyway, thank you to the governors. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you to Mary and Carrie and the whole alumni development team. I know this is a full team effort. They always do an amazing job. They have been doing nothing but pivoting for the past few years, and it is just such a pleasure to see this. I mean, this tent. I mean, maybe we'll do this every year now. This is magical. So I thank them for all their hard work. So what I am going to talk about today is mainly to highlight the changes to campus, since so many people haven't been here, because you're going to have opportunities later on to engage with different aspects of the program. So we will start with, if we can go to slide 2. So I feel incredibly privileged to have led this magical school for the past 7 years. And if there's one thing I would like you to walk away with this weekend, is that the community of Westover, the very fabric that makes this place magical, is still alive here. It may look slightly different, but it's still alive here. Spaces have changed, faces have changed, but the community that empowers young women to lead lives of consequence will make you proud. Next slide. So one of the first projects I initiated at the beginning of my tenure as head was the creation of a space solely dedicated to the Women in Science and Engineering program. This co-curricular program, which began in 1994, is a signature program where girls build the skills, confidence, and connections they need to successfully pursue future study and work in science and engineering. Next slide. In 2017, we opened the Ann S. Polina Women in Science and Engineering building, featuring a dedicated makerspace, smart technology-enhanced classroom, and robotics lab. The building provides a dedicated space for girls to truly build their own world. If you stop by the space this weekend, you will see computer-generated art on the walls created by a class co-taught by Sydney Kadiala, our amazing director of WISE, and Sarah Poskis, a longtime Westover art teacher. And they have been having so much fun with this collaboration. Next slide. After the completion of the Polina Center, we set out to upgrade the beloved main building. While not nearly as exciting of a project, we renovated Red Hall to upgrade lighting, electrical systems, installed an elevator. That was the most probably exciting part of the project, is that we have an elevator, and refreshed offices and the main hallway at the front entrance of the building. And also, not to be dismissed, we did start adding air conditioning. So that has also made a big difference. Student comment, next slide. So after we did that, when we were finishing up that renovation, the space that was the study hall when I came in 2015, we had stored all our junk in there. So when we were bringing it back out after the renovation, the associate head, Ben Hildebrand, who you'll see at a presentation later, we were thinking, this space only gets used a few hours a week. Wouldn't this be a great space to really bring the community together? And it's it connects the whole main building, it connects to the dorm. So we created this space for the girls to be when they weren't in class. It's a space where they can connect with each other and build lifelong friendships. It's a space to take a breath from the busy academic day, grab a snack, or hang out with friends on the weekends. And I will say it is used all the time. And I feel fortunate, my office is down the hall, and often you hear a lot of the noises of happiness coming from that space. Next slide. And then in 2018, we opened the Allison Bradford Student Commons, formerly the study hall, the gym, and even a space for theatrical performances. The Student Commons is a bright and welcoming space. It has technology where we can do a formal presentation and movie nights, and one of the kids' favorites, Dance Dance Revolution, which I can't do, but they love it. And then our Kaiser Cafe serves bubble teas, smoothies, and the very favorite thing for the girls is strawberries and cream. So it's basically a container with strawberries, and you can dip in whipped cream. We can't keep them in stock. There's also a study space with a smart board, and the Student Commons is, again, it is used all the time. And, even if they're not doing anything other than sharing the latest TikTok dance, it's just been really fun to see how much use this space has gotten. Next slide. I would like to showcase the space now known as the Rudolph S. Raisin Center for Global Justice. The space had previously been a classroom and study hall. I think it was schoolroom, for some of you who remember that. It had been changed to a computer lab by the time I got here, and then I think some of the WISE classes were taught. It's been transformed into a welcoming and safe space for students to explore their individual and collective activism, coordinate service learning projects, and plan student club activities. We're excited to welcome a new director of the Raisin Center this summer, Alana Grainsky, who is excited to further integrate the work of the center into the academic curriculum. Next slide. So, as you can see, much has changed about Westover in these past 7 years. These changes have helped us better serve today's students in the same spirit you experienced when you were here. Girls continue to be nurtured and guided by caring and talented faculty and staff who are dedicated to helping each girl find her path. Next slide. So the past 2 years have presented unimaginable challenges. From the COVID-19 pandemic to the national call for social and racial justice, to the crisis of teenage mental health we have faced and what often felt like insurmountable challenges. But Westover always prevails. Next slide. We've navigated COVID-19 as well as can be expected. I think a little better than that, frankly. After being fully remote for the remainder of the 2020 academic year, which was an experience like no other, and I feel like when we welcome that class of 2020 back tomorrow, like this is a community, like we will be forever bonded, everyone who was here that spring, by going through that together. And again, I think staying bonded throughout that period. So we offered a fully hybrid experience last academic year to accommodate students all over the world because some students came home and they could not return. This year, we have mostly been in person while continuing to mitigate viral spread on campus, which is a continuing challenge as we have new variants. But it has been much better since we're all vaccinated. The stakes feel much lower than they did initially. We've slowly been able to bring back treasured traditions, and we look forward to ending this academic year with a full slate of events, it has been difficult for kids because things they have been looking forward to do as seniors, we couldn't always do the way we'd done them before. But this year, I think we are pretty much back to normal. Next slide. We also continue to see troubling signs in the mental health of students across the country, and Westover is no exception. Compounded by the effects of the pandemic, social media, and increasing stressors, teenagers today are experiencing record high rates of depression and anxiety. These two articles from the New York Times highlight the struggles of today's students. At Westover, we continue to monitor this trend while also adding incredibly talented mental and physical health professionals to serve our students. And we're also introducing a new health and wellness curriculum next year. Next slide. The great news is that despite rapidly shifting market drivers, we are currently on the cusp of a steep decline of high school students nationally. So demographics are going in this direction. And there is deep financial need in order to afford an independent school experience. Because all of this, we need a lot of resources to support the Westover experience that families and students expect and should expect when they come here. It's a world where students have many choices and where schools work tirelessly to persuade them to attend. Westover has seen strong, mission-appropriate cohorts of students for the past several years. Next slide. We have data to support that when a student knows she wants an all-girls boarding experience, Westover is likely to yield her as a student. We also know that having a prospective student tour campus is an integral part of the admissions process. It's often the key component to helping the student see the magic for herself. Like, I'll tell you a little story. I was getting my nails done one day, and I'm sitting in the chair, and someone else is over at getting her fingernails done, and I overhear her talking about Westover. So I'm just like, I'm going to play it cool, hear what she has to say. So what happened was her daughter, she really wanted her daughter to go to Westover, and her best friend went to Westover. They were rising 8th graders. But what happened was she was able to go to, this was during the 2021 school year. We didn't have any outside folks come to campus. We did everything virtually for that admission cycle. And so her daughter got to go to a local day school and actually go to an open house on campus. And so I was listening to this whole story, and she was saying, but I think Westover's a better school. I think she'd have a better experience. I think the all girls would be so much better for her. So of course, then I couldn't keep my mouth shut. So, and she told me, she said, I really think if we could have had an experience on campus and interact with kids and see, again, there is magic in this space. That's what I felt the first time I stepped on campus. Then you can yield the students. But it's another reason why we need to keep investing in our plant. So next slide. So this is one of the reasons why our next renovation project, because as you know, this is an aging school, and we have plenty of ways we could be investing our money to improve the student experience. But we're prioritizing the dorm. We want to refresh the space on corridor and the classroom spaces as well. Today's girls, despite the pressures of the world, want to come to a school like Westover. They want an all-girls experience to provide them the space to find themselves, to try new things, and to bond with classmates who become lifelong friends, which is no small thing in this world, and I think becomes more and more precious as every year that goes by. Next slide. There are so many ways you can support Westover today. Your gift to the Westover Fund can provide needed financial aid to deserving students, so as many of our mission-matched applicants need support to make their Westover dream a reality. And I will say we had more students than ever who wanted to come to Westover, and we give out millions of dollars in financial aid every year, but we had a record number of students on a financial aid wait list this year. And these were kids who would be wonderful additions to the Westover community. But there is a financial reality to attending here. And I would like them all to come. There's also ways you can support the dorm and classroom renovations so Westover can continue to empower girls to become confident and connected women. So next slide. And finally, thank you for your support over the past 7 years. And Westover alums are the bedrock of all of our work, and I think that many heads I talk to, they are so envious of the commitment and engagement of the Westover alum. So, the school is in such a great place to serve today's students. There are dedicated and talented faculty and staff, and we are going to be in very, very capable hands with my friend Arch Montgomery coming in to take over as a seasoned and skilled educator as I depart. And I'm looking forward to working with him in the next few years. Well, next year. Sorry, I don't want to add on time. Don't worry, Arch. I don't know something you don't know. So anyway, thank you again. It's really a special experience to work with alums. I hope to stay engaged with the school. I already was making a lunch date with Dory Pease. And I wish the school nothing but the best and anything I can ever do to help. So now I am delighted to welcome Arch Montgomery to come to the podium, which again, also forgot to mention, made of the tree we had to take down outside of chapel. I love this podium. So a little piece of Westover, Arch. You're coming up to speak yet? Arch is going to be our interim head of school, and his relationship with Westover goes back to 1944, when his mother, Anita Packard Montgomery, joined Westover as a student, graduating in 1947. His two sisters, Anita, class of 1974, and Eliza, class of 1976, followed. This school was always a part of their lives. Many of his mother's closest friends were his classmates, and she served as a very capable and iconic chair of the Board of Trustees. And I will say, the number of times alums said to me, you and Anita would have loved each other. So the fact that Arch is stepping up and I am handing this over to him means a lot to me personally too. Arch grew up on boarding school campuses and then made boarding school his career. His final stint in headship was a 17-year tenure as the head of school at the Asheville School in North Carolina, where he was a transformative head of school. So now, please welcome Arch Montgomery.
It's wonderful to be here. I feel as though I have a little woman who we referred to as she who must be obeyed sitting on my shoulder. She loved this school, loved it deeply. So I'm grateful to be here and looking forward very much to the year ahead. But for now, I'm looking forward to learning as much as I possibly can. I can't thank Julie enough. It's so wonderful to have somebody open to their successor and willing to share information and talk candidly about the school. It's been a tremendous help. The transition committee has been just wonderful. The warmth of this place, and you all know this, I guess I'm just saying what you know already, is just palpable. The students, the faculty, the administration have been wonderful. I'm meeting regularly with Kim Hoagland. She's going to be a great board chair. I'm just so grateful for the preparation that's been made to help me succeed in this transition, and grateful for the welcome. So please know that I am very self-conscious about how much I have to learn. And so my email is amontgomery@westoverschool.org, and I urge you to contact me with anything or everything. Bend an ear. The more I know as I get started, the better off I'll be. And our goal is to have the school not go backwards, to continue to go forwards as it has been, and then to make sure that the next head of school is set up to really succeed. And if we can get that done in this interim year, and have a really good time doing it. After all, this is about the kids, and that's where the fun is. It's being with the kids and the faculty joining together as a community to create a transition that's smooth and keeps Westover heading in the right direction will be the goal for the year. So any help you can give me, I'll be hugely grateful. And thank you all very much. And particularly, Julie, thank you for what you have done already, what you are doing right now to educate me, which I know is a full-time job, and what I know you will do to make this a success. So it's great to be here, and thanks for the warm welcome.
The next portion of this assembly is the presentation of the Alumnae Association Awards. However, before we get to our 2022 honorees, I would like to take a moment to recognize two alums who were honored in 2020. As you all may remember, reunion weekend did not happen that year, so I would like to celebrate them today. The Board of Governors and the Alumni Office are thrilled to present the 2020 Distinguished Young Alumna Award to Alyssa Seifert Jarvie, class of 2005. This award is given to an alumna 5 to 15 years out of Westover who is inspired as in her work and who demonstrates integrity, responsibility, and commitment to community in accordance with the Westover mission. Alyssa's impressive career as a scientist, teacher, and accomplished professional embodies all the qualities this award represents. After Westover, Alyssa attended Carnegie Mellon University, where she earned her BS in chemical and biomedical engineering with a minor in professional writing. She then earned her PhD in biomedical engineering from Yale University while completing 2 years of MBA coursework at Yale School of Management on a fellowship, followed by a postdoctoral training at Yale Systems Biology Institute and Departmental of Immunobiology. This shouldn't be surprising if you've known Alyssa, and so I'm always so impressed whenever I see her background because this is who she is. It's amazing. She then served as the engineering director for the Yale Center for Biomedical Innovation and Technology. Today, she is part of the investment team at Foresight Capital, evaluating the technological feasibility of healthcare innovations. Again, she's quite impressive. She is also the inventor on a nanoparticle patent currently licensed to a VC-backed cancer immunotherapy company. Additionally, is a prolific science writer whose content has hundreds of thousands of views online. In addition, as we've established in her impressive career, Alyssa is a role model to all alums and students. In the midst of her many achievements, she has also been a valued member of the Board of Governors for the past 6 years and is a past class agent and reunion chair, and on many occasions has been a panelist and moderator for WISE programming with students and alums. And as a fun fact, she is one of 4 sisters, all of whom attended Westover. On behalf of the Board of Governors, I am thrilled to award the 2020 Distinguished Young Alumna Award to Alyssa Seifert Jarvie. Next, I'd like to recognize Faith Emney Conger, class of 1950, and the 2020 recipient of the Westover Award. Faith is a pioneer in the wellness and spirituality communities in Hawaii and New Jersey. She has been a certified yoga instructor since 1973 and taught at the University of Hawaii for 17 years, Princeton University for 20 years, and in her own studio for 35 years. She still teaches students twice a week at her home studio, and we are told her classes are wonderful. Faith, I might have to hunt you down and come to a yoga class at some point. Faith has her Master's of Education from Princeton and considers teaching to be her calling as well as her life's work. She believes small classes are key to inspire connection, fellowship, and guidance. Faith established the Dorcas Fund in 2010 with a donation that today generates income used annually to support the Dorcas Society, faculty advisor salaries, travel expenses, and other Dorcas Fair activities not supported by junior class fundraising efforts. This gift ensures this tradition remains part of the Westover experience as we foster our students in the values of charity and social responsibility. As you might guess, Faith's passion for the Dorcas program dates back to her days as a student. She was a Dorcas head, as was her mother, Winifred Rockefeller Emney, class of 1923, and her daughter, Elizabeth Conger, member of class of 1980, who's here today with Faith. Faith also has many cousins and aunts who attended Westover and is in fact a cousin of Theodate Pope Riddle. Faith, thank you for all you do and the ways you give to yourself to Westover and to the world. Thank you for living Westover's motto, to think, to do, to be. We are delighted to celebrate you today and to have this opportunity to share this award with you in person.
One of my students some time ago told her husband that she thought that I should come and work with a team. He was the coach, and he said, "Oh, I don't know." And she said, "Really, I think that they might even do better in the sport if you allowed them to have some yoga with them." So I went and I said, "Gentlemen, it is my pleasure to be able to teach you. I love coming to your games, and I know that taking yoga is going to help you, and you will perhaps win a few more games." And this is exactly what happened. And the coach said to me, "Why do they listen to you?" And I said, "Well, I don't yell at them." So it was really a wonderful experience that I've had many, many times when I have thoroughly enjoyed teaching yoga. I can remember going with a group to Russia, and I had had my training in prenatal yoga as well. And so one particular day, we were told that we were going to be meeting quite a number of students, and the facilitator said, "Has anyone had prenatal yoga?" I was the only one who had. So he said, "Would you please go and take care of those students?" Well, my translator only spoke French. So I thought, Suivez-moi, follow me. And I took them through an entire class of yoga, just following what I did. And it worked beautifully. So I've had many wonderful experiences, and I continue to teach, and I'm very happy to do so. Thank you so much.
Sarah.
Hi everyone. We are so excited to welcome you back to campus. My name is Sarah Reed and I am the current athletic director. I also have Ava Finateri here with me today. She's our first AA head and she has done an amazing job this year, so I'm thrilled to have her here with me to present the Athletic Hall of Fame inductees. And I apologize, but I'm going to read these off because I do not want to miss anything. There's so many highlights and accolades, so bear with me. I feel so honored to be inducting these amazing athletes. The first inductee is Christina Preto, class of 2012, and I just want to highlight her impressive list of accomplishments. At Westover, Christina was an all-around athlete, playing soccer, basketball, and softball for all 4 years. After Westover, she earned a spot rowing at Holy Cross. There, she helped her crew earn a silver medal in the Patriot League Regatta and a gold medal in the ECAC Regatta. After 1 year at Holy Cross, she transferred to Trinity and became a vital member of the rowing team. While there at Trinity, she won 2 NCAA Division III National Women's Rowing titles, earning All-American status. She won a Division III Team Championship in 2014 and an individual NCAA Championship in 2015 for winning the Women's Varsity 8 race. In 2013 and 14, Christina rowed in the 2v8 boat that won the NCAA Division III Championship Regatta, and that year she also won a silver medal in a member of the Bantams 2v8 at the New England Championship Regatta, and won another silver medal at as a member of Trinity's 2v8 at the ECAC National Invitational Regatta. While at Trinity, Christina and her crew broke the long-standing 2K Trinity record. In 2014 and 2015, Christina rowed in the number 3 seat for the bronze medal 1v8 at the ECAC National Invitational Collegiate Regatta and rowed the number 5 seat for the NCAA National Champion 1v8 championship. That year, she was a co-winner of the team's Coaches Award for consistent training. Christina went on to receive the Pocock All-American First Team by Collegiate Rowing Coaches Association in 2016 and was on the 2016 NESCAC All-Conference First Team. A 2-year starter on Trinity's 1v8, she earned a gold medal with that boat in the 2015 NCAA Division III Championship Regatta and a bronze medal in the ECAC National Invitational Regatta. Like I said, so much. So as I ramble these off, I just want to pause for a minute and really take it all in and understand what an amazing athlete she is. She is Westover's only All-American national champion for both her team and boat. In the summer of 2016, Christina made the waitlist for the Team USA Under-23 National Team Selection Camp, and in February 2021, she competed in the single Olympic trials in Sarasota, Florida, and came 15th in the time trial. It's my pleasure and honor to induct Christina into the Westover Athletics Hall of Fame. She's not here, but no speech? Okay, the second inductee is Dr. Evelyn Mervine, class of 2002. In Evelyn's senior year at Orchard, she won the Tomo Nakanashi Award for her dedication and excellence in kayaking. She was a junior Olympic whitewater kayaker, and in 1999, she ranked 66th for the K1 Women's, which signifies the female athlete paddling a single one-seater kayak. At the Junior Olympics, Evelyn finished top 4 in all of her races. In 2000, Evelyn took first for K1 Women's Covered Bridge race, and all other races she finished top 6. 2001, she took 2 firsts in the K1 Women's Junior, as well as the C1 Women's Junior Covered Bridge. The C stands for canoe. The K stands for kayak. At the 2001 Junior Olympics in Bryson City, North Carolina, she came 3rd in the K1 Women's Junior, 4th in the C1 Women's Junior, and in December of 2001, Evelyn was ranked 4th in the C1 Women's. 2005, she went on to qualify for the whitewater slalom U.S. team trials in the K1 Women by finishing 4th in the Mascoma qualifier. Not only did she show so much success in competing, but she also shared her passion with others by teaching whitewater kayaking at Dartmouth for 4 years. Academically, Evelyn studied for her master's in science in carbon management and has her PhD in marine geology. She currently works as a geoscientist holding the title of Principal of Carbon Mitigation Projects and is based in Australia. She previously worked as a climate change specialist and geologist for De Beers and was based in South Africa for 8 years. Sadly, she cannot be with us here today because she is in Australia. But we are so proud to call Evelyn an alum of Westover, and I am honored to induct her into the Westover Athletics Hall of Fame.
My name is Evelyn, and I'm here in beautiful Queensland, Australia, where I live, getting ready to go for a paddle in my kayak as I often do. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it to reunion this year, which is really sad because it's my 20th reunion and I really wish I could see all of my wonderful classmates. So hi everybody, have a great time. However, travel from Australia to the United States is still very difficult and expensive, so I wasn't able to make it. However, I just had to record a video because I received an email a few weeks ago that I have the honor of being inducted into the Westover Athletic Hall of Fame for kayaking, which is a wonderful honor. I first started kayaking when I was 12, and from the ages of 12 to 22, I competed pretty seriously and had great support from Westover School for all of my paddling. I got out of having to do other sports. I was able to even skip study hall at times so that I could train for my kayaking, and had amazing support from the faculty and the other students there. These days, I don't compete quite as much, but I still get out in my kayak. I try and get out on the water 2 or 3 times a week, and it's one of the most important things that I do for my physical and my mental well-being. With that, I'll wrap up this video. I'd better get on the water, but thank you again for this amazing honor, and go Wildcats!
So thank you again, and congratulations to Christina and Evelyn.
Good morning. My name is Tatiana Fonseca da Silva, class of 2007, and I am pleased to present the 2022 Distinguished Young Alum Award. This award is given to an alumna 5 to 15 years out of Westover School who is inspired in her work and who demonstrates integrity, responsibility, and commitment to community in accordance with the Westover mission. The list of those who received this award since its inception in 2001 includes scientists, lawyers, scholars, entrepreneurs, artists, dancers, to name a few. Today, we add a fighter pilot to the list. After Westover, Genevieve Zazada earned her Bachelor of Business Administration from the University of Hawaii, but she was not meant for a career in finance or the confines of a desk. After interviewing combat pilot Chuck Yeager on her college radio show, Genevieve had an itch to try flying. She was fortunate enough to accomplish her flight ratings out of Peterson Air Force Base with the help of scholarships and flight grants. A year later, Genevieve was competitive enough to apply to the Air National Guard hiring board and was selected as the first woman in the 159th Fighter Squadron. In a note to the Alumni Office in 2018, sharing her latest news, Genevieve wrote, "Mission planning in the cockpit at 250 KIAS, or knots indicated airspeed, is typically hours of boredom accompanied by moments of sheer terror. My graduation date for the T6 is in November, and I then start flying the T38 at 1,381 KIAS, or the speed of sound, whichever is faster. Not your average day at the office. Since then, Genevieve spent 2 years in pilot training, 9 months in F-16 school, and hundreds of training flights. Today, she is an Air Force captain flying F-16 fighter jets. Most recently, she was deployed to the Middle East during Operation Inherent Resolve and flew operational and combat missions over Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan in support of the Marines and the Army. All the while, Genevieve has shared her latest news and promotions with Westover, always accompanied by the coolest photos. The scenery, the jets, the uniform. If you've spotted one of her photos in the Alumnae magazine, you know exactly what I mean. These notes and photos are always followed with an offer to mentor students and young alums dreaming of taking flight. Citing a lack of female mentors during her school years, Genevieve has committed herself to filling that gap for the next generation of pilots. And this commitment extends well beyond Westover. Genevieve serves on boards and volunteers for organizations who aspire to the same mission. To name a few, Female Aviators Sticking Together, 99's Pike Peak Chapter, Women in Aviation International, and Women in Corporate Aviation. There are almost 11,000 pilots in the U.S. Air Force. Only about 700 are women. And of those, only about 20 fly a fighter jet. And Genevieve is one of them. Who better to lead the way? On behalf of the Alumni Association and the entire Westover community, we are so proud to call you one of our own, and we can't wait to see what you do next. The 2022 Distinguished Young Alum Award is presented to Captain Genevieve Zazada.
That's a nice thing about flight suits is they have a lot of pockets. So thank you for having me. I'd like to walk you through a little bit more about the day as a fighter pilot, because we typically take off in formation and we'll set up for a fight. My flight lead, also the bandit, also typically my instructor, will roar over the radio, and it's like the most exciting part of my day, where he says, "Fights on, fights on!" And then you know that it's about to go down because you have 960 knots of closure. You have an afterburner that's screaming, and then it just feels like you're under a freight train because the whole cockpit's vibrating. And then you have the G's that are about to onset. You've got 9 G's that are about to immobilize your body. But at the same time, of course, you have to look over your shoulder, and you're pulling these G's so you can't move, and it's just an absolute rush. So I tell myself, like, you always have to like fly in relation to the bandit when you're doing a dogfight. So if he's pointing to the sky, you're pointing towards the sky, and you are an afterburner, and eventually someone's going to run out of energy, which is typically the bandit, because they try and give us an advantage to make us feel good about ourselves. So the bandit will fall towards the sky, and then you'll arc behind them, and then you have Betty come over the radio when you try and get a lock, and it says, "Lock, lock." And that's when you like your heart starts racing. You're like, "Oh, I got him now." And then you take that Fox 2, and you win the day, and you go home, and you high-five with your buddies, and it's just an exhilarating experience in the office that few people will get to experience, at least until Top Gun 2 comes out in 8 days. But who's counting? So thank you for having me. It was not long ago that I was in high school, and I 100% never thought that I'd be going to work and people would be referring to me as Tito's, which is my call sign. I struggled academically. I'm an introvert, and I would have never thought that my future would hold me becoming an officer or a fighter pilot, but most importantly, a leader. I have been listening to the theme here of leadership, and it has really resonated with me because becoming a leader didn't happen for me overnight. I knew what I was supposed to want, and I knew what the institutions that I had grown up in wanted me to want, but it took one mentor and one role model, Sarah, who helped me break that mold. She told me, hey, you know, someone's got to fill that seat. Why isn't it you? Which means when it came to flying the world's greatest fighter jet that God ever made and leading on the battlefield, no one invited me, per se, to sit at the leadership table initially. Sitting at the table as a leader is an active choice that I make every day because I believe that my voice and my expertise matters. And that's what I want to impress upon everyone here is make room for yourself at the table, because the only person who 100% of the time, every day, is going to advocate for you is you. And to the younger gens and the introverts and the people who are already established in your career, and you might think, well, you know, I'm not really a leader because I don't have the expertise, I don't have the skill, I don't have the charisma, or whatever else you think you don't have to be a leader. I'm especially talking to you because it is critical that you pursue and own your leadership skills, because if you do not choose to lead, then you will follow someone else's moral compass and their values. The world is counting on you to define our futures. Embrace that and make a difference.
Thank you, Genevieve. It is also my distinct honor to present the Dr. Miriam DaCosta Willis, Class of 1952, Award for Social Justice. Established this year, this award is given in celebration of an alum who has made a significant contribution in the advancement of social justice through their advocacy, activism, and leadership. The Board of Governors Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee led the charge to create this new award in honor of the remarkable Dr. Miriam DaCosta Willis. Seeing an opportunity to celebrate our trailblazing, forward-thinking, and impassioned alums, the committee brought the idea to the full Board of Governors, and we are thrilled to be here today presenting it for the first time. This award will be presented every year, with each year's recipient keeping alive her legacy of advocacy, activism, and leadership. The discussion of who would be the inaugural recipient of the award was a quick conversation. It would be its namesake, Dr. Miriam DaCosta Willis, an activist, educator, and author. Examples of her advocacy, activism, and leadership are far greater than I could share with you today, but I will try to do her justice. Dr. DaCosta Willis, who passed away in 2021, was Westover's first African American graduate. She was also the first Black graduate with a PhD from Johns Hopkins University, and in 1965 was the first Black faculty member at Memphis State University. A college professor for more than 40 years, Dr. DaCosta Willis taught French, Spanish, and English over the course of her career. In addition to teaching, she was the chair of the Department of Romance Languages at Howard University, the founder and director of the Du Bois Scholarship Program at Lemoyne-Owen College, the Commonwealth Professor of Spanish at George Mason University, and she finished her career as a professor and the Director of Graduate Studies in the Department of African American Studies at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. She also authored, edited, and co-edited 15 books, received several fellowships and awards, including Johns Hopkins Fellowship, Wellesley College Fellowship for Graduate Studies, Outstanding Faculty Member of the Year Award, Prominent Black Woman Award, Torchbearer of Afro-Hispanic Studies, Carter G. Woodson Award, and the Martin Luther King Jr. Award. An activist throughout her life, Dr. DaCosta Willis organized a student protest at Wilkinson High School, joined her mother in the Montgomery bus boycott, and was jailed in Memphis for participating in civil rights demonstrations. She served as advisor to the Black Students Association, campaigned for Black political candidates, and as chair of the Memphis NAACP's Education Committee, led a boycott of local public schools in the 1960s and joined protest marches in Washington in the 1990s. Dr. DaCosta Willis was a lifetime member of the NAACP, chaired the Tennessee Humanities Council, and served on the boards of the Federation of State Humanities Councils, Shelby County Historical Commission, and MSU Center for Research on Women. Her accomplishments go on and on. I wish we could share them all with you today, but I have no doubt that even this brief glimpse into her life illustrates just how remarkable, resilient, and brilliant she truly was. It is an honor to tell her story and to know that Westover was a part of her journey. The 2022 Dr. Miriam DaCosta Willis, Class of 1952 Award for Social Justice is presented to its namesake, Dr. Miriam DaCosta Willis. To accept this award, we have a video from her son, Judge Tariq Sugarman.
Good evening. My name is Tariq Sugarman. I'm a judge in Memphis, Tennessee, the oldest child and only son of Dr. Miriam DaCosta Willis, a Westover graduate. I want to thank any of the board members and Alumni Association in attendance here for honoring our mother with this award. I have three sisters, Elena, Erica, and Monique, who join me in thanking the Alumni Association for recognizing our mother and her term there at Westover as one of the first African-American students there. It was certainly a time in her life that was not only trying, but one that she relished as she got older. The relationships that she built there at Westover, the friendships that she made, and the lessons that she learned carried her through life. As I had explained earlier, that my mother went on to become not only a scholar, but a person who had strong humanitarian and social justice values. She continued that late into her life, being involved in civil rights here in Memphis, Tennessee, leaving Westover and going on to Wellesley, and then getting her doctorate degree at Johns Hopkins University. The things and the foundation that was laid there at Westover carried her through her life and helped her to persevere, to be committed to helping others in their place in life. And I thank Westover for recognizing her for all of those values. Good evening. My name is Tariq.
Good morning. This morning I'm presenting the Mariah Randall Allen Class of 42 Volunteer Service Award. The award is given to an individual in recognition of her significant service to Westover and her consistent support of the school. The award honors an individual who has, through her work as a volunteer for Westover, demonstrated outstanding loyalty and a deep commitment to the mission of our school. It is named for Mariah Randall Allen, Class of 42, who would be celebrating her 80th reunion this year in celebration of Mariah's decades of service to Westover. It is my honor this morning to present the Mariah Randall Allen Class of 42 Volunteer Service Award to Dory Peace, Westover Class of 1957. And let me tell you about Dory. For so many of us, Dory epitomizes Westover. Her dedication and love of the school and service to it are second to none. Dory has deep family connections to Westover. Her grandmother graduated from here in our first class. 1910, her mother went to Westover, and she also has other family members. Her dedication and connection to Westover is really the stuff of legend. Over the years, Dory has given tirelessly to Westover. When she was informed that she was named this year's recipient of the Mariah Randall Allen Service Award, she first said, "Oh no, that can't be right." And then she told me that she felt her mother would be so proud and was smiling down on her. Dory has served in nearly every volunteer role that Westover offers. She's been the peer fundraiser for the Class of 57 for the last 50 plus years. Each year, she rallies her class to an impressive participation. She was a member of the Board of Governors from 2012 to 2018 and served as Vice President of the Alumni Association from 2016 to 2018. She has also been Reunion Chair, a Reunion Gift Chair, a Phonathon volunteer, and a member of the Hillard Society. When she's not volunteering her time at Westover, Dory has been an active volunteer with the Congregational Church of New Canaan, including service as a Stephen minister and as volunteer for its Meals on Wheels program. She's president of the American Association of University Women, the New Canaan branch. She's also served as a hospice volunteer for Masonic Care Home and Hospice. For her tireless contributions to Westover and the Alumni Association, the Board of Governors is proud to present this year's Mariah Randall Allen Class of 42 Volunteer Service Award to Dory on the occasion of her 65th reunion.
I just wanted to say it's not me, it's the class of 57, which is a very special class. I wish everybody could be here today, but I think COVID at our age was the deterrent. But anyway, thank you, class of 57. I really appreciate this.
The Westover Award is presented by the Alumnae Association to a person associated with Westover School whose tangible accomplishments are significant and who in life and spirit has exemplified the Westover motto, to think, to do, to be. This award, first given in 1953, is presented each year to a Westover alumna or friend who has achieved remarkable feats and made impactful contributions to Westover and the world. This year's recipient fits right in on this distinguished list. Brenda Mallory, class of 1975, is a force for good. I hope you'll allow me a minute or two to share about Brenda's career. I'll do my best to be as concise as we chart her path from Westover to the White House. After she graduated from Westover, Brenda attended Yale University. The first in her family to attend college, Brenda majored in American history and sociology and then earned her law degree from Columbia University. Her career began in litigation, but Brenda quickly found herself in Washington, D.C., working at a private practice, where her work involved helping local governments secure federal environmental approvals for economic development proposals. In 2000, she joined the Environmental Protection Agency, working the Office of Wetlands, Oceans, and Watersheds. Brenda was soon elected to the EPA's representative to the White House Task Force on Energy Project, streamlining to coordinate the project between federal agencies. She was also a part of the team responding to emergency environmental disasters, for example, the Fukushima nuclear disaster, Hurricane Katrina, and the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. By 2010, Brenda was the highest-ranking career official in the Office of the General Counsel at the Environmental Protection Agency, and in 2014 was appointed General Counsel for the White House Council on Environmental Quality under President Obama, a role in which she was tasked with providing legal support in the development, implementation, and defense of the president's environmental, energy, and conservation agendas. Brenda then served as the executive director of the Conservation Litigation Project and later Director of Regulatory Policy at the Southern Environmental Law Center. And this brings us to Brenda's current role. In the spring of 2021, she was confirmed by the United States Senate and sworn in as the 12th chair of the Council on Environmental Quality. In this role, she advises President Biden on environmental and natural resources policies that improve, preserve, and protect public health and the environment in our communities. She is focused particularly on addressing environmental justice and climate change challenges and advancing opportunities for job growth and economic development. She is the first African American to hold this position. If you visit the White House website, you'll find a page about Brenda. On this page, sharing about her life, it says, Chair Mallory earned a scholarship to a prestigious boarding school for high school that changed the course of her life. To be clear, she is talking about Westover. And despite her busy, skyrocketing career, Brenda always has had a moment for Westover. She stays in touch, connects with the alumni office often, and in 2020 was the Earth Day chapel speaker. And when I had the moment to actually tell her on the phone that she was being given this award, she spoke for about 20 minutes about all things Westover, and I just listened, and it was just the most delightful call I've had in a long time. Plus, I haven't had to call the White House ever, so that was kind of a fun little thing to have to do. Brenda unfortunately could not be here today as she is attending her daughter's 2020 graduation ceremony from Yale University at this very moment. But for the members of the class of 1976 and 1977 who are here, ask them, and I am guessing they will tell you what we often hear, that even as teenagers, they knew Brenda was bound for greatness. She is a dedicated public servant and a fierce and brilliant steward of environmental justice. On behalf of the Alumnae Association, it is my honor to celebrate and recognize Brenda Mallory with the 2022 Westover Award.
Greetings, Westover. It is so good to be addressing you. I'm sorry I'm not able to be with you today. As you may have heard, my daughter's makeup graduation ceremony from 2020 is occurring at this very moment that you are listening to this. But I'm grateful that technology allows me to join you in this way. I am so thrilled and honored to have been selected by the Board of Governors of the Alumni Association as this year's Westover Award recipient. Let me express a heartfelt thank you for this recognition and for the way it connects me to a history of thinkers and doers and beers who graced the Westover halls and used what they learned at Westover to make their own marks in the world. Westover was a path changer and a path maker in my life. It was a path changer because, as I have regularly said, it fundamentally changed the course of my life. In the mid-1970s, people from my community in Waterbury, Connecticut, hardworking, mostly African American, mostly not college educated, were not preparing their children for or sending them to the most elite educational institutions in the country. That became my journey because Westover changed my exposure to and understanding of what was possible. It was a path maker because once my eyes were open to what was possible, Westover helped me to figure out how to access those new opportunities. As the first person in my family to go to college, my parents offered deep wells of love, emotional support, and encouragement, but had little to share on how to approach the college process. For this, Westover teachers stepped in different ways. From my math teacher, who took me to Brown to visit, to my English teacher, who casually suggested the parts of my experience I should write about in my college essay, or to the dean of students steering me to certain courses, that fourth year of Latin, for example, to strengthen my record. I know some of this was simply good teachers meeting their students where they were. But nevertheless, I am grateful for the assistance and, more importantly, for an educational environment that helped me to develop the skills to thrive in my academic and professional endeavors. Westover also introduced me to many things that account for the joy in my life today. It was there that I was introduced to classical music, to tennis, to reading for the joy of reading, to art history, to the peace and calm of nature, and to the enduring power of traditions. Westover was also my introduction to navigating some of the harder lessons in life. In the 1970s, as elite institutions like Westover opened their doors to more diverse students, they were still learning what actions were needed to create a welcoming environment for diverse students who found their new homes culturally unfamiliar and challenging in other ways. Developing the resilience to soldier on in the face of personal slights and various forms of othering would prove to be essential life lessons, and I'm grateful for those as well. Turning now to this award and how honored I am to receive it, Westover's motto, to think, to do, to be, has always struck me as encouraging and empowering. I appreciate the focus and discipline it conveys, that with purpose and planning, we can achieve any results. Throughout my life, in my academic and professional pursuits, as well as in my personal and civic activities, I have carried that can-do spirit with me. For over 2 decades now, I have dedicated my life and that spirit to public service and the public interest. That is why receiving this award means so much to me. I have spent my career working on programs designed to clean up toxic pollution in our water and protect water resources. I've spent time working on programs focused on cleaning up contaminated property and removing harmful chemicals from products. I have also worked to help federal agencies to make better and more informed decisions so that the federal government can help communities on the ground. In many ways, I feel like my current role as the chair of the White House Council on Environmental Quality is a culmination of a 35-plus year career that in different ways has prepared me for this moment. I am honored to be a part of President Biden's team and to dedicate my experience to tackling the climate change crisis, promoting the path to a sustainable future, and working to ensure that all communities can live, work, and play where there is clean air, clean water, and healthy, toxic-free environments. Our work on environmental justice is centered around 3 key questions. How can we help people? How can we protect children and families? How can we ensure a better future for generations to come? I have a quote by John Wellesley on my whiteboard in my office that reads, "Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can." I read that every day, and in so many ways, it epitomizes the way I see the work I am doing every day at the Council on Environmental Quality. But it is an ethos that was seeded early in my time at Westover. It is an ethos that has underlined my entire career. And it is an ethos that I hope future Westover graduates take with them into the world. Before I close, I want to applaud the Board of Governors for creating the Dr. Miriam DaCosta Willis Award for Social Justice and making Dr. DaCosta Willis its first recipient. She led an inspiring life, and I was proud to learn about her story and that she was a Westover alum too. So thank you, thank you, thank you for this tremendous honor, and have a great weekend.
Thank you again for being here this morning and celebrating these remarkable alums. Up next is Chapel Line in Lumina. We have a few moments, but we're going to ask that you make your way to Quad, where Chapel Line will begin on the arcade parallel to Schoolroom Corridor. As you know, we cannot be in chapel due to COVID, and also during this time, the organ is being replaced, and so refurbished, and it's not in great shape. It's all over. So the next time you're here, you'll hear the music, the beautiful music pipe down the hall. But in order to keep us all safe during COVID, we're going to be outside. A quick note on the schedule for tomorrow. It says that graduation's at 9 a.m. It's actually at 10 a.m., so you can sleep in a little bit after tonight's dinner. Please check your schedule for a whole host of options and activities following lunch. Be sure to be back here at 4 o'clock for club reunions with alums and students. And if you have not interacted with students in a while, they're great, so come over. Then we'll be having a celebratory happy hour and then dinner with your class. Enjoy the day. Thank you, everyone.